A very good evening and a very warm welcome to Buddhist Mahavira's Facebook page. We are here this evening to actually listen to one of our most popular Dhamma speakers that we have here on the Dhamma Dhana series. He is Bhante Dr. S. Pemaratana. And Bhante Pemaratana is, I'm sure, very familiar to most of our regular listeners here at the Dhamma Dhana series. Now, Bhante will be talking on a very significant subject, which is setting resolutions for the new year. Since we're right now at the end of the new year, and many of us will be, is usually trying to set our resolutions, and let's see how, in the Buddhist perspective, we will look forward to the future. How we should look forward to the future. As you know, it's been a very tough year for us. And Bante will also, I think, will be talking about a little bit about what happened in 2020. And since this will be the last Dhamma talk or Dhamma sermon here at the Buddhist Mahavira's online the online sessions that we have here on Facebook Live, it gives me great pleasure now to invite Bhante Premaratana to the studio. Evening, Bhante, or good morning to you.
Yeah, thank you, brothers.
It's a very nice, lovely background that you have there at your vihara.
Yes, brother. We have two trees on both sides of the Buddha, and one is a Christmas tree. The other one we call it a Buddha Mas tree.
Oh, okay.
All the ornaments in that tree are the Buddhist ornaments. Dhamma wheel, Bodhi leaf, so we call it a Buddha Mas tree.
Okay, not Xmas, but Buddha Mas. That's very interesting. Okay, let me just quickly read Bhante's profile for those of you who are not familiar with Bhante Premaratana. Bhante Dr. S. Premaratana is the Chief Abbot of the Pittsburgh Buddhist Center in the USA. He holds a bachelor's degree in Buddhist studies from the Peradeniya University in Sri Lanka and also a master's in philosophy from the National University of Singapore. He was conferred a PhD from the University of Pittsburgh in the States. He conducts regular workshops on meditation at his center and also at the yoga studios in the greater Pittsburgh area. He also provides spiritual counseling to help Americans deal with challenges of modern living. So with that, and without wasting much time, let me now warmly introduce Bhante to start this evening's Dhamma sharing, and it's entitled Setting Resolutions for the New Year. Bhante, would you please have the honors?
Blessings to you all. It is a great pleasure to be with you at the end of this year to reflect on the teachings of the Buddha before we enter the new year. So 2020 is almost over. We have come to the end of 2020. This 2020 has been a very remarkable year for all of us. Definitely it is a challenging year. But it also a year that we learned so many lessons in our lives. So let us spend this time, this talk, to understand how we should reflect on the previous year and then how we can prepare for the new year. There are so many guidelines that we can get from the teachings of the Buddha in order to prepare ourselves for this new year, and also in order to have good lessons from the previous year, it's still the current year, but from this year. Of course, 2020 brought us a lot of challenges and difficulties. So I'm glad that at least we are now going to start 2021 with some hope. We are hearing about possible vaccines, and so we have some hope that some light that we will be able to gradually manage this pandemic in the world. Hopefully, definitely it will take a few more months for all of us to get the vaccine and get some control of this pandemic. But it's still we have that hope and some light at the tunnel. So it's really great that we can enter the 2020 with that kind of positive mentality. But at the same time, we should never forget 2020. And we should also remember that we may be able to somehow manage this pandemic, but that doesn't mean that all the challenges, all the difficulties for us and for human beings as common as a whole is going to be over. So even though we manage this pandemic, but there can be still similar challenges, similar difficulties that we will encounter in future. Therefore, we should really learn the lesson from this pandemic and from 2020. I think what the most important thing that we learned during this year is to understand that how fragile is our human life, and to understand how our human life is supported by so many conditions around us, and how even simple conditions, simple, very simple thing like virus, even something that we can't see to our naked eyes, how even such a thing can have a big impact on our lives. So it shows us the idea that how our life is dependent on so many things, and then how fragile it is, and therefore in a way it kind of reminds us how we should take this life is as precious, and at the same time make use of this life for the wholesome purposes. So this life is so fragile, we cannot take our life for granted, and so it is supported by so many conditions. So we have to have that response, that gratitude towards all these conditions that help us to live healthy, live happily, but at the same time understand that this life is not for following unworthy pursuits. This life should be spent to achieve to achieve a spiritual growth. Very important. We need to develop that kind of mentality. So I think that will help us to set a wholesome resolutions for the new year, to understand that life is fragile, and it is something that we should really take care of, and it's something that we should really spend in a very wise manner. If we learn that lesson, that will help us to move to the next year. And we'd also learn that how we are interconnected, that as human beings, we try to separate as countries, separate as ethnic groups, and try to be separate as in so many ways. Human beings are very good in finding different categories that we can separate from each other. But this pandemic taught us that as human beings, we really cannot be separated. One human being's condition is going to influence so many other human beings. So we really cannot live as separate, discrete groups. We really need to help each other, and we really need to take care of each other. We really need to take care of each community in the world. So I hope that if the world leaders, realize this truth, that no one country can live happily if some other countries are ignored. We cannot do like that. This world is so connected. So we need to help each other, even in a country, even in an area. We need to take care of other people also. So if you learn these lessons, I think we can move to the next year very fruitfully. I hope that you may also have your own personal lessons. What I just told you is the common lessons that we can learn from 2020. Where it's really important to take a time to sit very quietly and spend few minutes, some time to reflect on your own life, how you spend this 2020 in this challenging period. What are the personal lessons that you learn in this year? We have a term called Singhavalokana. Singhavalokana. Singhavalokana means reflecting in the way of a lion. Looking back in a way of a lion. In the folk stories, we believe that a lion has a habit of spending some time in every day reflecting. As lion has a habit of, when lion is walking and moving, he will not continuously walk, but he will stop from different spots in his journey, and then will turn around and look back of the walk he made. That's the folk belief. But whether this is really happening or not, because of this folk belief of this lion's habit of looking back of his journey from time to time, and we have this term Singhavalokana, which means looking back to our own journey of life from time to time. So at the end of year, it is a very important practice that we take time. Maybe you can prepare your tea or your drink, your coffee, and sit down very quietly and then reflect very carefully what happened in the year and what you did in this year and how you responded to most significant events in the year, and whether you were able to skillfully respond to those things, whether you were not able to skillfully respond to those things, whether you were wise in those situations or whether you were not be able to wise in these situations. Honestly, not to judge yourself, not to not to pass judgments on yourself, but simply to reflect and understand is how I responded to these situations. So if we have this personal reflection, Singhavalokana, reflecting in the way of a lion, you will learn your own personal lessons too. How you can ask the question, is there a better way that I could have handled this situation? Not to regret on what happened, but just to learn from our own lessons, and then it can help you as a lesson for future. So I encourage you, before the end of the year, we have a few more days left. I encourage you, take one evening with your tea, with your drink, and take a moment, take some time to reflect on your own personal journey in this year, in these difficulties. Within difficulties, how did you manage your life? And maybe sometimes you may have learned so many new things also in this year. And because challenges and difficulties push us to go beyond our comfort zones and discover new things in our life. So maybe you have such experiences too. So reflect on those things and try to learn your personal lessons of this year also. So with that, let us now move to talk about the next year. And of course, every year is a conventional. It's a convention that the Earth goes around the sun, like a whole one round around the sun is called an year. But when this year starts and ends, it's a convention. So of course, the most common convention and commonly accepted convention is this the year. It is a year that we are all spending. So for that year to end, there are a few more days left. But it's important. We live by conventions. So let's consider this as a conventional year, but this is a new year. And let us move to talk about how we move into that year. So if we have although it's a convention, if we have that milestone, it can help us to renew ourselves. This even though it's a conventional year, and this is an opportunity for us to renew ourselves. There's an opportunity for us to have a restart. There's an opportunity for us to reset our own life. So let us make use of this opportunity to reset ourselves, to reorient ourselves to wholesome goals. So for that, we need resolutions. We need to set resolutions. Let us talk about that now. Resolutions play a very important role in Buddhism. We know that every spiritual journey starts with a strong resolution. And beginning of a serious spiritual journey is a resolution. In the lives of the Buddha, we find how Buddha made his own resolutions. And remember, think about the think about the resolution the Buddha made just before his enlightenment, and that is the most well-known resolution of the Buddha. Buddha has been practicing for different techniques, and for about 6 years after he renounced his prince life, and he has been learning all these different techniques, and then he practiced self mortification, self-torture, extreme ascetic practices, and then finally he realized that those practices are not helping him to develop his mind to eradicate its defilements. And then he rediscovered the middle path, and then he has been practicing the middle path, taking care of his body, but then using the health of the body, the comfort of the body to develop his mind. And he was able to gradually remove his ignorance, and he realized that he has all these conditions for him to become fully enlightened. And when we have this basic training and other conditions completed, and he made a resolution. So before the Vesak full moon day, he sat down under the Bodhi tree with a very strong resolution, not in a normal way. That resolution is recorded in the Pali discourses. He had a very strong determination that now I have discovered this new path, the middle path. I have fulfilled it. I have some little bit more to complete, little bit more to penetrate to my ignorance and realize the truth behind our existence, my own existence, and the existence of all others. And so he knew that it's little bit more to do. That only happen. So he sat down under that Bodhi tree and make a strong resolution. That resolution goes like this: let my skin and sinews and bones dry up, together with all the flesh and blood of my body. I welcome it, but I will not move from this spot until I have attained the supreme and final liberation. That was the resolution of the Bodhisattva, the Buddha before becoming the Buddha. Just before becoming the Buddha, Bodhisattva, he sat down under that Bodhi tree with that strong determination. I'm not going to move from this spot. I'm not going to stand up from this spot until I attain final liberation, because he has a clear idea that he will he can have that breakthrough. So he sat down with that resolution: I'm not going to move from this spot until I attain final liberation, even though my blood, my my skin, my flesh all dry up. I'm not going to stand up. I'm not going to move. That's a strong resolution. And the Bodhisattva made it, and he had such a clear, strong resolution. He continued his practice, and he had the breakthrough. He became the enlightened one, the Buddha, and that allowed all of us a new path of our life, new opening and possibility of enlightenment and possibility of spiritual growth. So the whole Buddhism, the realization of the Buddha is a result of a resolution on that moment. But remember, that resolution that Buddha made under the Bodhi tree is only one of many resolutions that Buddha had done. But that's the most recent one, just before he becoming enlightened one. But we should remember the Buddha's whole journey to become the Samma Sambuddha, to become a fully enlightened Buddha, someone who will establish a community of disciples. So his whole journey to become the Buddha is also started as a result of a resolution. The Bodhisattva before his, the life that he became enlightened, before his life and he was making a journey of perfection. He was making a journey towards the fully enlightenment. But his whole journey started when he met a previous Buddha many, many millions years ago in a different world cycle. Our Bodhisattva was an ascetic. I think you remember that, an ascetic called Sumedha, and he was an ascetic many eons ago in a different world. It's a different cycle of the world system, and he was an ascetic called Sumedha, and then he was able to, for the first time, see his in own eye a fully enlightened Buddha called Dipankara Buddha. So his meeting with the Dipankara Buddha was a very significant moment in his whole journey of life, of his journey to the enlightenment, of his own enlightenment. So ascetic Sumedha saw that a group of people are preparing and cleaning a village, and he wanted to know why these people are so busy in preparing. Looks like a festival. And when he inquired about this preparation, he realized that the fully enlightened teacher called Dipankara Buddha is visiting our village today together with his disciples. So we are preparing our village, preparing our roads, preparing our environment to welcome this fully enlightened Buddha. It is very rare to have a fully awakened one. So when ascetic Siddhartha heard about it, and he was impressed this idea of an enlightened person and a fully enlightened being, and he also wanted to see, and he also wanted to help these villagers to prepare these roads and village, and he also started to help, and he took the responsibility to clean all the muddy area and arrange that muddy area in a nice way that anyone can walk pass it through, anyone can walk through it. But it was a really heavy task, and he was working so hard, but he could not finish the area that he took responsibility to clean. And then, but the Buddha arrived. The Buddha Dipankara arrived before he cleaned this area. And when the Buddha Dipankara arrived, he realized that the Buddha Dipankara had to walk on the muddy area to move to the other part of the village. And when he saw the Buddha Dipankara coming together with other disciples, he was so inspired by simply the vision of the Buddha, his composure, his serenity, and everything, just the physical features. He was so impressed by this vision of the Buddha. And he had such a great wish that how good if I can also become like a Sambuddha to help so many beings. And then he has such a great admiration of the Buddha. And he didn't feel like allowing the Buddha to walk on this muddy area, on this puddle of the mud. So instead, because of his deep devotion, what he did was actually he invited the Buddha Dipankara, please don't stop on this mud. I'm going to lie on this muddy area, and please stop on me and pass to the next other ground, elevated ground, and please step on me. Please use me as a bridge. So please stop on me. Don't place your foot on the muddy area. So he was so devotional to the Buddha. He lied down right in front of the Buddha on this muddy area, inviting the Buddha to stop on him to move to the land, past that muddy area. In that moment, the Buddha Dipankara realized the mentality of this great ascetic, and Buddha realized the Buddha Dipankara realized the potential of this ascetic to become a fully awakened one day if he continues all the perfections. He has the potential, he has the potential. So Buddha Dipankara then saw the strong wish this person is having in his mind. The ascetic Siddhartha is having it in mind. So Buddha did not stop on him. Instead of Buddha invite all the monks and other villagers, And Buddha said that I can see a strong seed has been planted in this person's mind. And this person's mind, a seed has been planted. And that seed is the seed of becoming fully enlightened Buddha one day. So today I proclaim that this ascetic Siddhartha will continue his practice, will continue to fulfill all the paramis, all the perfections with great compassion for all living beings, and he will one day become the Buddha, a fully enlightened Buddha like me. So Buddha Dipankara made that proclamation, and ascetic Siddhartha made that resolution so strongly, and from that moment onwards, ascetic Siddhartha started to fulfill all the qualities, all the skills needed for a fully enlightened one, which is given in the 10 perfections. We know about that 10 perfections. And so then life after life, ascetic Siddhartha by different names and different lifetimes fulfilled these perfections. And then in that journey, the end of that journey is to become the fully enlightened Buddha called Gautama Buddha, the Gautama Buddha, or the Shakyamuni Buddha. That whole journey of becoming a Shakyamuni Buddha, or the Gautama Buddha, the our Buddha, started at that moment as a result of a strong resolution. So now we can understand how powerful is a resolution. And if you really make that resolution very strongly, it's going to make things happen. It is going to orient you to that direction. You know, when we set a clear, strong resolutions, and then our words and our actions, our other decisions are going to align along that resolutions, and then of course all other conditions will fall, will come into be in line with that resolution, and we can make things happen. And that's the lesson we should learn. So, learning from the Buddha, we should also use this potential of our mind, and also to set a goal in our life and set resolutions for our whole life, but also for each individual year. Maybe we can have a large goal, and then we can have supporting resolutions to achieve that goal. So I encourage you, learn from the life of the Buddha. And resolutions are not only part of a fully enlightened one, even for other enlightened monks. When we read the history of many enlightened disciples of the Buddha, we can see so many enlightened disciples of the Buddha have also started their own spiritual journey based on a resolution. And I will give you just one example. I think we all know there were key disciples of the Buddha at the time of the Buddha, and one of them was Venerable Mahakassapa. Venerable Mahakassapa is one of the prominent disciples of the Buddha, and then he became the foremost among monks who follow strict ascetic practices and simple life, and also later became the person who actually organized all the monks after the passing away of the Buddha. After Buddha's passing away, and Venerable Mahakassapa became the leading monk who organizes the first Buddhist council and to provide the leadership to the monks after the Buddha's passing away. And so this Venerable Mahakassapa, and he started his spiritual journey many years ago in a different world cycle, when he saw another disciple of a different Buddha. So many lifetimes ago, when the Venerable Mahakassapa in his many previous life, many lifetimes ago, was a son of a millionaire, a son of a rich businessman, and his name was Videha. And in the city that he was living, he saw a different Buddha, the Buddha called Padumuttara Buddha. Padumuttara Buddha was living and teaching and establishing a community. And this young man was he knew about that there's a teacher, well-known teacher in this our city, and he started to visit the Buddha and he listened to the teachings of the Buddha. And of course, he was not, inspired to become a monk at that time, at that point. But when he was visiting the Buddha and was listening to the Buddha, one day he was in front of the Buddha, and the Buddha declared another monk in that gathering, a monk called Nishabha, in that gathering, and that monk to be the foremost among the monks who follow extra ascetic practices, like living only on Pindapata and living only in the forests, not in the temples. So there are optional ascetic practices that if monks want to follow, we can follow. We call them Duthanga or Duthang or Duthanga, additional ascetic practices. And monks can volunteer to practice those ascetic practices, like eating only once a day, and eating only from Pindapata, and only living in the very simple huts or forests, not in temples. So those are additional ascetic practices. So the monk Nishabha was proclaimed by the Padumuttara Buddha as the foremost among the monks who follow these Duthanga practices. And this young man Videha observed that and witnessed that. And once he saw that, he was so inspired to become like the monk Nishabha. And he made the resolution that I will also train myself. I will also aspire to become a monk foremost in the additional ascetic practices, in the Dhanga practices, in my future lives. So he made that a strong resolution. As a result of that, he has been practicing all this qualification he needed to become a prominent disciple of the Buddha. And at the end, he became the Venerable Mahakassapa. He became the foremost among the monks who practiced the Dhanga practices at the time of the Shakyamuni Buddha, the Buddha Gautama. So we can understand many prominent disciples of the Buddha started their journey as a result of resolution. So we use different terms for this resolution in Pali. We have a term called Pani Dhana. Pani Dhana means it means resolution. Literally, it means Pani Dhana means fixation of the mind. Fixation of the mind. You fix your mind on a wholesome goal, and that becomes your target. That becomes your destination. So Pani Dhana, the fixation of the mind, which means a resolution, aspiration, even like a vow, taking a vow, taking a strong vow. So Pani Dhana. So those disciples made a Pani Dhana. And Pani Dhana is usually a long-term goal, a long-term spiritual goal. We all should have a Pani Dhana for us, a long-term spiritual goal, how we want to be liberated. And then there's another term called Aditana. That is a more familiar term for you, Aditana. Aditana, it literally means determination. It also can mean resolution. And you know that in the 8 paramis, in 8 perfections, 8 great virtues, a fully enlightened one should fulfill before becoming enlightened, are called 10 paramitas or 10 paramis, 10 perfections, 10 highest virtues. And the 8th of these 10 is the Aditana, the ability to stay in, ability to make a strong determination and then stay in that goal without moving. And so Aditana is a resolution, and we all should have Aditana even for our even with regard to our small goals in our life. Even very simple act, like when we want to make a very successful meritorious deed, we should make an Aditana. I'm going to make this meritorious deed no matter how many obstacles will come on my way. Because usually, whenever we start something, there are so many obstacles on our way. So Aditana is a resolution to achieve the goal without being influenced by the obstacles, without dropping the goal because of the obstacles. So Aditana, even when you sit for meditation, for example, we need to make an Aditana, a determination that I'm going to make a committed practice right now. So I'm going to sit this long without moving, no matter whatever happens. So we have to have that kind of Aditana before even we sit for a meditation. So we can use this Aditana for when we start a new year too. So these two terms, Pani Dhana and Aditana, are two different Pali terms that can help us to set our resolution. Pani Dhana is a long-term resolutions. Aditana is a short-term resolutions. So we should use them. So we saw that in the case of the Buddha and also in the case of Venerable Mahakassapa, and their resolution really worked. They made the resolution and they worked towards the resolution and they made things happen. They made a resolution and their resolution came true. So we may ask, can we also make the resolution and can we also make things happen? And you may say that I have made so many wishes in my life, but those wishes may not have not necessarily come true. I think we need to understand that there are two reasons why our aspirations may not come true. There are two reasons why our aspirations may not come true. One, that when we make an aspiration, aspiration we have to do as a resolution. Aspiration is only we like to have something, but resolution is a very strong determination that I will achieve that goal, and then be ready to align our speech, align our action, align all the decisions towards that goal. So when the reason that our aspiration does not come true is that we only simply keep wishing, and we don't align our actions, we don't align our words and our decisions along that goal. So if you do that, we can make things happen. And for that to happen, we also need to make our resolution very clear. What happens in our life that we wish so many things, we like so many things, we aspire to have so many things. When we set a resolution, when we set an aspiration, our mind is not clear. Sometimes we have conflicting aspirations in our mind. You may think that I like to be. You can make a resolution that I like to have a peace of mind. I like to have a peace of mind. So let's say you have that resolution. On the other, and that aspiration, I like to have peace of mind. That's aspiration. At the same time, you can also have another aspiration that will conflict or contradict the resolution of peace of mind. And you will say that I want to influence this many people, or I want to earn this much of money, whatever. So we need to remember that our aspirations should not conflict on each other. The reason that our aspirations, our resolution do not come true is that we don't make clear resolution. Our mind is not clear when we make these things. So if we can really settle down our mind and understand the clear the goal that we want to achieve and make a strong resolution, they will come true. Because our mind is confused, we have so many conflicting wishes, and we are not clear about our own, what we really need, and therefore we make resolution, we make aspiration in a very weak grounds. So those things will not come. But if you really knew what you really need, and then make that strong, and if you make a resolution with a very clear mind, and those resolutions are powerful, they will come true, because you will also align your words, your actions, your decisions along that goal. Second reason our resolutions does not come true is that our resolution and our aspirations are sometimes can be too self-centered. Actually, all this resolution, as we saw in the case of the Buddha and in the case of Venerable Mahakassapa, those resolutions are about our personal journey, but they are not necessarily self-centered resolutions. We need to make our resolutions wholesome. not about only about ourselves. We need to make this resolution in order to benefit so many others. So the more self-centered the resolutions are, the less possibility of these resolutions to come true. But if we make a resolution that include so many other people, other beings in our resolution, like in making a resolution not only to satisfy ourselves, but also to benefit so many others, and then our resolution become wholesome. And that is how we can distinguish our resolutions from having a craving and an attachment. Sometimes we may ask that as Buddhists, can we make resolution? Can we have wishes? Because we are supposed to overcome our craving, our attachment. And of course, our goal is to overcome our craving and attachment. But making resolutions to have a spiritual growth is not contradicting this. And so if you have a wholesome wish, if you have a wish that will benefit so many others, and if you have a wish to eradicate our own unwholesome tendencies, and that's become a wholesome resolution. It's not a form of craving or attachment, but it's a form of willingness. We call chanda, a willingness. It's a willingness to achieve a goal, and then it's making a strong determination and resolution to achieve that goal. And it is not unwholesome. It is not attachment. And it is using the power of our mind to achieve a wholesome goal. That is what the Buddha and his disciples did. So therefore, if we make our goal clear and then relate that goal to benefit others, our wishes can come true. And I also would like to talk a little bit about why in Buddhism we believe that we accept that the resolution really works. The resolution works because in the teachings of the Buddha, we don't believe in a deterministic destiny. As beings, impermanent beings, working under the law of dependent origination. In Buddhism, we don't believe in a fixed destiny. No one has a fixed destiny. Our life is quite open. And so because we don't have a fixed destiny set by someone else before us, and our life is a possibility. So many things are possible in our life because we do not have a fixed destiny. Therefore, resolutions are so important. So important because we do not have fixed destiny, kind of set by someone else, some other power. Our resolution become the direction that our life will move forward. So therefore, it's really important that we make resolutions. If you don't make resolutions, the life will simply sway to here and there, and there's no journey, and there's no fixed destiny to our life too. So therefore, we have to make one. That is making a resolution, or we call Pani Dhana, a long-term goal. And that is why in Buddhism we have a special place for resolutions. So we have to make a destiny. Destiny doesn't come to us automatically. We have to make a destiny. That is, resolutions help us to make that, create that goal, make that destiny. And it's also in Buddhist teachings, Buddha explained that our personality is also not fixed. Our personality is not fixed. We know the teaching of anatta, non-self. There's no permanent personality within us. And of course, there are certain enduring patterns in our life. There's a certain personality traits that we have developed over the years and maybe over the previous lifetimes. But that doesn't mean that our personality is a fixed thing. And therefore, Buddha encourage us to look into our own personality and try to reform it. And Aditana, these resolutions, aspirations work because we don't have a fixed personality. We can change. It's such a liberating idea that we don't have a fixed personality. If you realize that there are certain tendencies, certain habits in my life that are not beneficial, that are not really bringing me any good, and if you realize that good news is that our personality is not fixed, therefore we can change it. So the resolution, setting resolution is the first step to make these changes. So the resolutions the Buddhism has such a prominent place for resolution because of this underlying doctrinal explanation that we don't have a fixed destiny and we don't have fixed personality. So anything can be changed, and we should make use of that. And so it's also like in that case, along with the same ideas, according to Buddhist teaching, future is also not fixed. Future is also not fixed. And according to Buddhism, we cannot predict future with certainty. We cannot predict future in certainty according to the teachings of the Buddha, according to the teachings of the dependent origination. We cannot predict future with certainty because future is still in the making. This is not kind of already fixed, already determined by someone else beforehand. Future is in the making. And of course, based on our current situation, we can make some predictions. Like if you study hard, we can say that you will pass the exam. And if you follow your moral precepts, we can predict that okay, you are going to have relatively peaceful life, life free of troubles. And so, based on our current conditions, we can make some predictions, but no fixed, we cannot make predictions with certainty of the future. That is the Buddhist teaching, because future is not there yet. It is still in the making. Therefore, we can create the future that we want. And if we change the conditions right now, it will bring us a different future. If we remain like this, it will bring about another future. And if whatever changes we are doing right now will change the kind of future that we are going to have. So future is not fixed. So because of that, resolutions are so important. And setting these goals are very important because that is the direction that future will, continue to evolve into. So therefore, it's really important that we make use of that. So in the way, actually, the resolutions are in a way of making use of the impermanence for our own purpose. Everything is impermanent, including our life, every situation. Nothing is fixed. So setting a resolution is making use of this impermanence of life for our own benefit. That is what we are doing here. Because nothing is fixed, we can gradually make this. We can gradually make the future that we want to achieve. Of course, it requires setting a resolution and also efforts. But it's important that they are not fixed. They are not given to us. We have to make it. So that is the basis for the resolution. And the whole idea of karma is also based on that. The karma means that we make our own destiny. Whenever you hear the karma, and karma means volitional actions, right? It's a volition. It starts in the mind. It's a volitional actions, and whatever volitional actions become the karma. And whenever you hear the karma, usually people think about only the past karma. But people have forgotten that we still have the ability to create new karma. Right? I mean, when we talk about karma, it looks and people tend to think that all the karmas are the past, and now we feel like almost like we don't have any more power to make new karma. No, we have the potential. We have the ability. We have the capacity to do more karma, even right now. No matter whatever the karma that we have in the past, it is influential, but our ability to do karma is still here. So why not we create, more wholesome karma right now, and then that will change the future. So karma, whenever we hear the term karma, it's always people only think about the past karma. They don't think about the present karma, the karma that we can do now. Our possibility, our capacity to do karma is not over yet. We can still do karma and then change the overall result. So all these ideas, all these teachings are helping us and guiding us to set resolutions and direct our life with a goal. And when it comes to the new year, we can really prepare ourselves to make specific resolutions just for the new year, and those resolutions, those aspirations should be aligned with your larger spiritual goal. So I think now you realize that it's really important. Our resolutions are really powerful because those resolutions are the powers that bring our life to certain direction. Otherwise, it doesn't have a fixed direction. We have to create a direction to our life. Our resolutions are the key to make that direction. So make use of that. And I really encourage you to reflect on this 2020 and then clear your mind and make good resolution for the next year. And this is an opportunity for you to start anew. This is an opportunity for you to correct yourself. This is an opportunity for you to grow more and more. So make resolutions. So I'm going to give you a few tips, how you can make resolution and stay into resolution. What's really our really challenge is not only to make resolution, but also to stick into resolutions. So I'm going to give you a few tips how you can stick into resolutions, not only making them, but also how you can stick into them. So think about what changes you like to see in your life. You can make resolutions to do to learn more Dhamma. You can make resolution to be more helpful to others. You can have a resolution to be patient to others. But it's also really important to be specific. Okay, so the first tip when you make resolution for the next year, first guideline for you: be specific. When we have a very broad resolution, we don't know how to achieve that. So it's really important. We can have a larger general goal. Let's say we can have a goal of I'm going to spiritually grow. I'm going to work towards my liberation. Not even my liberation. I mean, when you liberate, there's no I, but I'm going to work towards the liberation. So be specific. Thank you, Brother Leslie. Be specific. That is the first guideline. So when you make resolution, really, we need to be specific. And let's say you want to say, I want to be patient, but make it specific. I will be patient with regard to my family members. Then now it is specific. Or I'll be patient with regard to my co-workers. Be that, I'll be more resolute in the challenges in my work. So make those resolutions specific, because then you can achieve that. And also, I will encourage you to write it down. Write it down. And let's say I will meditate, but simply don't say I will meditate. Be specific. I will meditate. I will meditate. Let's say I will meditate 15 minutes every day. Maybe if every day is not practical, I will meditate 15 minutes, maybe over the weekend. Make that resolution specific. I will help. I'll be kind. I will help 2 people in a day. I will so make those resolutions. Maybe I will visit temples. I will visit temples once a week. I will visit temples once a week, and I will engage in a meritorious deed. So make those resolutions very clear. And so be specific, and I will also be relate to the specific. You can also write it down, because when you be specific, you can write it down. It's really important to write it down, and I will even encourage you to write it down and hang it somewhere that you can see. In the Pittsburgh Buddhist Center on January 1st, we are also going to have a session to set resolution for the new year, and we have encouraged people to write it down on a paper body leaves. We create this paper body leaf. So on the other side of the body leaf, we have the lines we can write your resolution. I resolve, and you write your resolution. So once they write their resolution for the new year, they can hang this body leaf in a place that they can see it, on daily basis. So I will encourage you to do the same thing. Be specific, write it down, and maybe you can use a body leaf. This because body leaf is a very important symbol for us, and Buddha made his own resolution under the Bodhi tree. So you can also make the resolution. You can write your resolution in the paper in the shape of a body leaf. So be specific, write it down. and of course, stick it somewhere they can see. Second guidelines is that be simple in your resolution. Be practical. Make a simple resolution for the new year. Be simple. That means that maybe you can say be practical, because sometimes we have this habit that whenever we want to make a resolution, whenever new year start, we make all resolutions. Sometimes those resolutions are really big resolutions. I'm going to meditate an hour every day, which is not going to be practical. So for some people maybe it's possible, but for most people it not be practical. So when we make resolution, usually we have a weakness that we go overboard. We go overboard. You say that I will, I'll be kind to everyone I will meet. So we go overboard. Of course, we have to be kind to everyone we meet. But when we make resolution, we have to we have to be specific, but at the same time be very simple and practical that we can achieve. We have to set an achievable goal within the available resources, within the available time for us. So let's say I will spend more time with my family. That's a good one, and that's achievable one. So the second guideline is to be simple and practical. Be simple and practical. Don't try to make really huge resolutions that ultimately you will fail to achieve it. And be humble and make very practical, small, each step at a time, little by little. We cannot make complete change to our life. Recognize the weaknesses in your life, what you want to change, what you want to correct, and make a very practical resolution, short term, a very simple resolution. Little bit change, not a big change yet, little bit change. Within a year, we can achieve only a certain level of change. So make it practical and simple. And the third guidelines is that proclaim it. Proclaim your resolution. And usually you can go to a teacher. Of course, you can go to a teacher, your spiritual teacher, in front of a monk, and just inform the monk, Venerable Sir, Bhante, in this year, I have made this resolution. Maybe I have made this resolution. And maybe even you can have few resolutions, but don't make it too a long list. Just few, maybe less than 5 will be much enough, big enough. And you can tell the monk, proclaim your resolution. I'm not asking to proclaim to everyone. Don't write in your Facebook or somewhere and let everybody know that and I'm doing this. That's going to be too stressful. and just to a trustworthy person. That is the important thing. In the case of the Buddha, he made the resolution in front of the Buddha. So proclaim it to a trustworthy person, to a teacher, and even you can go in front of the Buddha statue, and in front of the Buddha statue you can proclaim it. That proclamation is very important. That is when the resolution is kind of sink into your mind and become even a part of your unconscious level of your mind, that it will kind of help you to move through that. So proclamation is very important. Proclaim it. And then the fourth guideline is that these are helping you to stick into your resolution. Try to find a friend to do the same resolution with you, or even try to find a friend who can help you to check on you. So it's really important, do this thing as a together. So try to find a friend to follow the resolution with you. Try to find a friend to follow the resolution with you. Maybe the same resolution, or maybe similar resolution. Maybe you can say, no, I'm going to be patient with regard to my family members. Try to find a friend to do same thing. I'm going to attend 3 retreats in this year. I'm going to attend 3 retreats in this year. And then you try to find a friend who can do the same thing with you. And so you're not doing by yourself. You are doing with another friend. So it's really, this friendship is really important. That helps you to keep the resolution going. Maybe if your friend has a different resolution, that's okay. You can have 2 different resolutions, but you can agree to each other that you will check on each other. and you can call the friend once in a while. How did you do? Will you be able to follow your resolution? Will you be able to be patient with your family members? Will you be able to visit temples as as you resolve in the beginning of the year? Did you attend retreats? Were you able to maintain your meditation practice on daily basis? So you can check on each other. So have a friend to make the resolution. And the next one, the fifth guideline is that allows failures. The reason that when we set resolution, it doesn't mean that we should never fail to do that. Let's say you made a resolution, I will meditate 15 minutes every day. Some days you may fail to do it, but you have to allow that failure to happen. And maybe your resolution that I'll be enduring hardships at work. I'll be kind to my colleagues. I try to be, but even you can be specific. I'll be kind in my speech to my colleagues, my co-workers. Maybe some days there's a serious difficult issue and you were not mindful enough and you didn't do that. But don't give up the resolution. We can allow failures to happen and we can come back to that. The reason that we set resolution is that we are not perfect. Therefore, sometimes we fail, but that's okay. Allow these failures and always go back. Perfectionism is not going to do any good to us. So we have to allow. We cannot be perfect. So we have to allow this resolution. We should expect that I may not be able to follow exact things as I wish every day, but I can come back. Keep coming back. The last tip that help you to stay in the resolution is that think about the benefit you are doing to others from your resolution. Usually we set resolutions to our own life, what kind of changes that I want to make in my life. But our life is related to so many other people. So always reflect what kind of benefit it will bring to others. If you make a resolution to do meritorious deeds, like a specific number of meritorious deeds, think about how much benefit it's going to do to others. And let's say if you make a resolution that I'll be mindful in my speech, in my workplace, be specific. I'll be mindful in my speech among my friends, among my family members, be specific, and think about the benefit of the resolution that you will do to others. That's the important thing, not only to yourself. Benefit that you will do to others. That is so important, because whenever we think about the benefit that it will do to others, it helps us to stick into that resolution. It's not only about us. It's about all others that live with us. Even a very private practice like sitting for meditation, going to benefit to us to manage our own emotions, to eradicate our own defilements. But that has a great benefit to others. Our family members will benefit if you have less defilements, if you have more mindfulness. Our co-workers are going to benefit from it. So think about the benefit that you will do to others, benefit to others from your resolutions, and that will help you. Okay, so we have 6 guidelines. Let us reflect on that. Brother Leslie, maybe you can help me to put those things on the screen. First one is be specific. Tip 1, be specific. Second one is be practical. Make a very simple resolution. Don't go overboard. And third one is proclaim it into a teacher or trustworthy person, and then try to find a friend to set the resolution with you, and allow failures. And the last one, think of the benefit that you do to others from your resolution. Thank you. So those are the 6 tips I would like to give you. Hope that you will remember this and write your resolution for the next year. And one last thing I would also like to share with you, that our environment, our physical environment, sometimes even social environment, influence our ability to stick into resolutions. Let's say you made the resolution that I will quit smoking, and I will quit drinking or smoking or some other bad habits. And environment is so important in such situation. If you really want to get rid of a bad habit, think about this also, because environment triggers for us to go into that bad habit. So if you are really setting a resolution to get rid of your bad habit, maybe I will cut down my sugar. I cut down my coffee. Even like such simple resolutions, and maybe you're getting rid of any kind of bad habit. Whatever addiction that you want to. Maybe I will cut down my time on the social media. Sometimes that has become an addiction for many people. That's a good resolution to make in this new year, to cut down my time on social media. I'm sorry, of course, you are now listening to this talk also from the social media, but sometimes we spend too much time unnecessarily for less useful things in our life. So we can make a resolution to cut down. And in order to get rid of any bad habits, environment is important. So we need to make changes to environment, where we place our cell phone, and make sure that if you have such a resolution, I will cut down my time that I waste on my social media. Make sure that when you sleep, your phone is much away from you, and change your environment, change your room, change your house, and changing the environment is helping you to get rid of a bad habit. Any bad habits is triggered by something that you see, something that you smell, something you hear. So try to remove those triggers and change the environment, and then you'll be able to really get rid of your bad habit as a result of your strong resolution. So I hope that we are now ready to reflect on our previous year and learn the lessons, the common lessons, and also the personal lessons, and then set our resolution for the new year. New year has not arrived yet. New year is not a fixed year, and just like anything else, it is not fixed. Our future is not fixed. We have to make it. So how next year going to be, it depends on how you make it. Of course, how others also contributed, but you can be the initiator. So I hope that you learn the power of the resolution, the power of the mind, and also using the impermanence for own benefit, and then use the power of your volition, power of your intention, power of your resolution, and make the year that you want it to be. Of course, we cannot really make big changes, but small changes in our life that we can gradually move towards the liberation, and also gradually change our bad habits, gradually weaken our negative tendencies, and then gradually become more beneficial person to others, and gradually become more peaceful person inside yourself. So larger goal has to be more beneficial to others, more peaceful within inside. That will lead us to liberation. That could be your large goal. But within that, you can have specific goals, with specific resolution with regard to your career, with regard to your personal life, with regard to your family, with regard to your colleagues. So we can have a specific resolution. So I wish that may you be able to find specific resolution for the next year, and we'll be able to make it and stick into that resolution and make 2020 a brighter year. Let us also wish that may all the human beings, all the people around the world be able to get rid of this pandemic as soon as possible. May everyone who has been affected be healed, and may the people suffering from all around the world due to economic problems, may they be able to come back. May the economy come back for the benefit of all beings, not only for our own benefit, but for the benefit of all beings. Let us make that wish also, and let us make our own personal resolutions to make our 2020 a brighter year. I wish you a brighter year ahead with the power of your resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Bante. Thank you for that very inspiring message for us at the end of the year. I think there was a lot of viewers today specifically coming to listen to you, and there are some questions that are being posed to us from the audience. Maybe you'd like to answer them, Bante?
Yes. Okay. Okay, this is a good question. How we can have the mindfulness of the present moment and have resolutions for future goals. I think that's what it comes at the end, right? So how we can be mindful. Actually, the mindfulness has two aspects. So we need to remember that original meaning of mindfulness is to remember. So sati, the word sati, sati comes from the verb called sarati, which means to remember. So the mindfulness has two aspects. One is to remember our large main goal, and then be mindful of the present moment, whether our present moment activities align with the large goal. That is the true meaning of mindfulness. You remember the impermanence that taught by the Buddha, and then in the present moment you explore, you become aware of your present moment, but not without any goal. Our mindfulness has a goal. It is not a simple observation of whatever going on. We have a goal. We have a goal to experience impermanence. At least in the context of Buddhist practice of mindfulness, our whole goal of practicing mindfulness is to realize, is to experience impermanence, to experience unsatisfactoriness, and to experience non-self. The three characteristics, to directly experience them. That is our goal. We are not simply doing mindfulness without any purpose. We have a goal. So I don't think that there will be a conflict between these two. We need to pay attention to the present moment, but with a goal of realizing the reality, realizing three characteristics. So if you have a specific resolution, wholesome resolution, let's say you have a resolution that I'll be patient in my speech in my workplace. Okay, let's say we have that resolution. Okay, now let's say when you practice mindfulness, if you have that resolution as a guiding principles, so you can use and you can be mindful of your speech and remember the resolution you made. You can be mindful of the resolution you made, and you can mindful about the speech that you are making right now. And you can use the resolution you made beforehand and remember that, and then use this mindfulness to align and change your speech. So I think mindfulness is not simply paying attention to the present moment. It is paying attention to the present moment with a goal, with a wholesome goal. So setting resolution helps us to have that goal. And without a resolution, mindfulness has no direction. We don't know what to do. We can simply pay attention to whatever going on in our mind and in our body, but we don't know what to do. We need to decide whether we want to continue, whether we want to drop that. So we have to have a resolution for that. So I don't think that there's a contradiction there. Yes, sister, this is also a good reflection. And when you, in our daily chanting, at the end, we make an aspiration. So that we have aspiration that, aspiration to attain enlightenment, aspiration to associate whole, spiritual friends, wholesome people. Yes, sister, that is a part of aspiration. So that is a given aspiration to us, because in Buddhism, we consider that, meeting good people and meeting teachers are very important in our spiritual practice. If you don't find appropriate teachers, if you don't find a conducive supporting environment, friendship, it's very difficult to have a progress in our spiritual life. So meeting appropriate teachers and having a supporting community is very important in my spiritual practice. Therefore, traditionally, we have a resolution. We have an aspiration that we make end of every chanting, that may I be able to find wholesome friends, wholesome people in my life until I attain the liberation. So that is one important resolution. Okay, that is a standard resolution. Yes, sister, but we can also make our own new resolutions too. Yes, thank you for reminding that, in our daily chanting, we make resolution, we make aspiration mainly, but we can make resolution. There's a slight difference between aspiration and resolution. Aspiration, that we wish for something to happen, but resolution is actually make a strong determination and make resolving to change, align our speech, our actions, our decision along that goal that we are making. Will our past karma influence our future? Yes. I would say past karma influence our future definitely, but I think mostly our present karma influence our future. So because our present become the past to the future, right? So let's say our present karma influence the future. I think we need to understand that the karma works not like karma works as a whole. We may have done so many individual different karmas in our life, but the way our those the karma is actually the influence that those volitional actions had made on our mind. So when the karma is giving its fruits, they are working as a whole. Of course, there are certain specific karma that will specifically influence us, but in general, this karma works as a whole. So therefore, what we do in the present time is going to really influence the general outcome of any specific karma. So our past karma definitely influence future, but in that case, I think our present karma influence future more than the past karma. So our present karma is more powerful because whatever we have done is already done, but now we have the possibility to do the new karma again and again. Our present karma will decide the future. So then of course when it comes to comes the future, our present become the past. So I can say yes, past karma influence future, but actually in reality it is the present karma that influence the future. Okay, so difference between making positive affirmations and resolution. I think again, I think I explained earlier the difference between aspiration and a resolution. Of course, when we do like loving kindness meditation, we wish well-being to everyone else, right? So those are simple wishes. They are not resolutions. We wish that may all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. So we make those wishes. We also wish for others, like may my children study well. And you can also make wishes to sick person. You go and visit the sick person and genuinely make a wish that may you be healed, may you get proper treatment. So those are simple wishes. Yes, I think creating positive affirmations and resolutions are actually mild. We can say mild form of resolution. They're not resolutions, but they are simple aspiration and wishes, which are so important. But I think resolution is very different. Resolution is very specific. Resolution is done in a single-minded intention. So resolution has to be done in a very clear mind, in a very single-minded intention, and then it's more like a willingness to change everything else along that resolution, and it's different. So yes, positive affirmations are wishes, aspirations. They are very important, but they are mild forms of wishes. But resolutions are very strong determinations, and then being willing to change anything to achieve that, and then aligning our words and speech to that. So resolutions are stronger than simple affirmations and aspirations. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is a good comment, brother. Yes, using the life of the Buddha as a guideline for us to live our own life, definitely. Not only the teachings of the Buddha, the life of the Buddha itself is a teaching for us. So Buddha gave his teaching in his words, and he explained very intricate, complex doctrines in his words. But at the same time, he also taught the Dhamma in his own life, through his own life. Yes, brother, is exactly correct. Life of the Buddha itself is a great example for us to live our life, how to face obstacles, and how to endure hardships. Buddha has gone through all these things. At the same time, how Buddha, sacrifices so many things to achieve the final goal of liberation. Definitely, life of the Buddha is the main guideline, for us to live our life. So therefore, we should learn more and more about the lives of the Buddha, and learn from the life of the Buddha. Yes, I would approve that comment, and definitely in my own personal life also, the life of the Buddha is such a great inspiration. I always ask, what would the Buddha do in this situation? If same thing happened to the Buddha, what would the Buddha do? That's a good question to ask from you. Whenever you are facing a difficulty, a challenge, disappointing moments, what would the Buddha do? And that will help you to make a good decision. Yes, thank you, brother. It's a good point.
Thank you, Bante. So we have come to the end of the Q&A, and it's almost 1 hour 20 minutes we have taken. And I think there's a lot of interest in the resolutions. So before we end, can we go on to the Anumodana, Bante, to transfer the merits to all the dearly departed as well as to all our devas?
To reflect, today we listened to the Dhamma talk. We were able to maintain our mind focusing on the Dhamma talk, and we were able to maintain a wholesome mind throughout this session. I hope that during this session you didn't have thoughts of hatred, you didn't have thoughts of greediness, you didn't have thoughts of confusion, and you were like opening up your mind, and you maintain your mind free from those unwholesome qualities, at least for this moment. So by listening to this talk with such a mindful, such a purified mind, free from greed, hatred, and delusion, and also listen to this talk with respect to the teachings of the Buddha. And we have done so much. We have accumulated so much good merits. We have done so good karma, and now let us dedicate this karma to others. So in Buddhist practice, whenever we perform a wholesome deed, we want to share it with others. So let us invite our departed relatives to come and rejoice in this wholesome act. And at the end of the year, let us be grateful to our departed family members who loved us so much, who cared for us so much. Let us share this good merits with them. May all of our departed relatives rejoice in this wholesome deed. May they also be able to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. May they also be able to, have wisdom in their life. And may all of our departed relatives share these merits. May they benefit. May they be well and happy and peaceful wherever they may be. With that wish, let us recite together. Idang mi ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idang mi ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idang mi ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Let us also share these merits with all other living beings. If there's any being in this world who would like to share this kind of meritorious deed, may they all do so. May all divine beings, may all the devas, may all other sentient beings, may all of them share this good deed and benefit from this good deed. May they rejoice in this good deed. May all living beings share these merits. May all living beings be well, happy, and peaceful. Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbhe devanumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya sabbe sattha anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya.
Thank you, Bante. You sound tired after 1.5 hours almost.
Yeah, you're most welcome, brother. I'm so glad to be,
Yeah,
join with you at the end
yeah,
of the.
we are so glad that you took this opportunity to be with us at the last Dhamma sermon for 2020,
Yes.
and we look forward to more sharings with you in 2021. I
Yeah.
think that's one of our aspirations for Buddhist Mahavihara. Our resolutions will be to make sure that we will be able to get you to Buddhist Mahavihara physically, hopefully by the end of the pandemic in
Yes.
2021. There are some comments. I think I'd like to just post them to you quickly. This is my sister Rachel.
Hmm.
Uh, Thanking you for wonderful sharing.
Okay.
And then there's one more by Sister Jessica, and
Mhm.
these are all being posted on Facebook. So for those of you who are listening to us or watching us on Facebook, please do look at the comments and put your comments in at the Facebook page. So before we end, just to recap, I think Bante had mentioned about two things: Pani Dhana, which is the long-term determination, and also the Aditana, which is the short-term determination that we should look forward to or we should try to achieve in 2021. He also provided us with some tips that there were 6 tips I think he mentioned, that how we can achieve this and not just make this an aspiration and then forget it by the end of March. That's what happens to most of us. We set our resolutions in the 1st of January. By the end of March, we've already forgotten what we did in 1st of January. So let's not do that for 2021.
So how about the leaf?
Yes, I think that's a very good example, one. It's a very good thing we can follow actually,
Yeah.
to have an aspiration written down and where we can see it every day. So before we end, I'd like to thank Bante for coming on this evening and sharing your knowledge with us, and also to help to at least inspire us for 2021, for the start of 2021. And on behalf of the monks of the Buddhist Mahavihara, the volunteers, I've got now a few volunteers who are helping me with this online Dhamma sermons. Brother Eric, brother sister, I've got a new sister, Fionn, who's also joined us. Brother Eddie, who's helping us with the Mandarin talks. So all these volunteers for helping me out, and also the staff of the Buddhist Mahavihara for coordinating this. Our sponsors throughout the year, and all the audiences and listeners who are joining us for the last 9 months. We have been doing this for the last 9 months continuously. I think I'm very proud of that. Buddhist Mahavihara has been able to have Dhamma talks every Friday and every Sunday, thanks to all the Dhamma speakers, both lay and monastics, who have joined us and supported us all the way for the last 9 months. And basically, and also to thank you and hope to see you in 2021. We'll try to carry on with the online sessions that we have. And hopefully, as Bante mentioned, we will be able to see the end of this pandemic, in 2021, and maybe go back to personal or live Dhamma sharings here at the Buddhist Mahavihara. So before we end, let me just take this opportunity to thank everyone and also to wish you a happy new year for 2021, and hope 2021 will be much better than 2020. So with that, good night and have a pleasant evening. Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Oh yes, also one thing, to hope that you finish your book that you're writing.
Yeah, that's my resolution.
That's an aspiration for you, or rather
Thank
determination
you.
for you.
Yeah. Thank you
Okay.
for your good wishes. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Sadhu.